perfect. I cannot wait for this game to play out. There's so much skill going into this game right now. Sentinels is bringing to the table. The guard has revitalized, and we'll get to see now, as the desk was saying, the guard back on Breeze. Sentinels now with a new composition. Tens on that chamber, and Shroud in on the controller position for Sentinels here. We'll get our first round of Breeze.
We're still dipping our toes to see what the guard has to offer in this series, because we have talked about, oh, can Saya play something different? But he's starting things off as a Jet, going for a double push with Jonah P inside the A halls. But for Sentinels, it's a different look. A triple initiator, starting with the Owl Drone, tagging Net, potentially forcing the fall back. There you go, back at the bridge, opening up the A site.
And we wonder, this map pool could actually allow just Jet, right? If Sentinels wanted to play Jet through this map pool that we see here as they encroach onto A, slowly scaling in, they could. But still, the chamber's there. What will he be able to do?
Yeah, but it's on the flank here. They're already coming around the corner. There's the first contact, and there you go. Who better than Shroud for the first blood? Traded out, though, and it's looking to be a back and forth. The backward sense in control. One more to go to 180 on the latest edition as well. Celsius giving the first round for Sentinels on the pistol.
Beautifully played. The triple initiator composition requires a lot of the members of Sentinels to be together, to work as a team. You don't have somebody that's dashing forward, that's gaining the space. When those flashes go out, there needs to be bodies. And you saw all of Sentinels, a very nice scaling onto the side off Shroud's wall. He picks up the first blood. Couldn't write it better here, and they do take first round. It is going to be a Marshall for Saya player here in the second round. We'll see if we can get anything else.
And that's something common that we usually see from Saya player anyways, in a perfect map to bring that out too, but he's actually using it more towards the A halls. Meanwhile, where we do have pressure from the defenders is a 3 stack from the guard up here towards the tunnel, and it did match a little bit of control from utility from initiators, while we have also a push coming out from Net, who does get spotted, does get picked for a bit, down to 40 HP, and now falling back.
Little 3-man test, making sure they can at least trade if they do go for one. Dapper, you see Dapper on the peak there, but he also has a bit of an anchor coming from Tens. And Sentinels have always kind of played that unconventional. It was Sick on Sage or Dapper on something else on the controllers to get their engages, to be their duelists. Sentinels have always had a different style. And the triple initiator as well leads to a style where you can play straight to protocols. You don't have these set strats. Now it seems to lean towards B. The guard has this quite red, though, Vansili.
And that triple initiator allows them to play a little bit more slowly, but look at that, around the corner, the wall comes up, but it's going to be another double flank coming soon from the guard, as Sentinels are executing inside the B site. Here we go, just across the wall. They're about to cross. Dialen is going to be the first one. A ding on to the second, so no plant coming down yet. Nice poison orb from Shroud just to try to cover for a bit. 20 seconds left. Plenty of time to still go for a plant, but we still have the Marshall in play. Tens, though, coming in as a chamber, getting a shot on to Net. We're still looking back at the flank, and now it's only going to be Saya player spotted towards the mid, and it's going to be an easy 3 versus 1. And it's going to be impossible for Saya player to try to win this 3 versus 1 with only a Marshall.
If he can hit a few through the smoke, that would have been fantastic for him, but it looks like he will get pinched contact. And even a far rotation off here by Shroud to make sure that they could just hang back for the full defuse if it was necessary. Great damage by guard. Second round is Sentinels, though, with another plant, so extra economy there, so they can get themselves into this bonus round. It might be a little bit of a back and forth by maybe Tens with the Spectre, or he may just go full Headhunter here, and it looks like he will do that. The guard have tried to push onto B. They played Saya player towards a Marshall for that round, so hoping he can get the Blade Storm soon. It doesn't look like an operator will be in the future with the economy just yet. And we'll see what they do now as they spit Saya player over towards A. Strength calls now as they spread out this defense. So keep an eye on Net towards mid and how much coverage he can control with this move towards A for Sentinels. They can, again, do anything, right? It's off of protocol. Not really strategies for them, as they can flow anywhere with this composition and the play style we've usually seen from them.
And that's why we're talking about is trying to stay in the default style that you have from Sentinels with the triple initiator, playing it more slowly and using your utility of the initiators to figure out if the guard are going to be pushing somewhere early like they did in the last few rounds. This means that we might potentially see a lot of back as they get inside. but this time it's going to be quick. Moving inside the A side, and it's going to be an open door, but Trent holding it up towards that bridge. 2 kills on the ground and Dapper. 10's the last player standing stuck at the mid double doors. Now on a 3 versus 1. Make that a 2 versus 1, but he just gets flanked by Net, and that's the first point on the board for the guard, as Sentinels had that bonus round.
Yeah, nicely retaliated by the guard, not thrown off by the fact that there were 3 coming out, even blind with that fade utility from Dapper. Guard still able to retaliate and get the right calls down. They had a good read on it too. 2 were leaning towards A. They had the hulls and mid lean coming in from Net, so nicely positioned over towards A to make sure that bonus round went in their favor. Now, well, first full gun. Tens may look to get an orb here in halls. Get that tour de force online. Let's see how they play this. Spike is down, so this definitely means they want to read out the guard. They want to make sure when they use this initiator utility, it is used to the maximum.
They are so dead.
We're trying to push real quick down. Block contact. Jonah P does manage to get the kill onto Tens, so that cancels out the duel to false, but at least it gets traded up as Shroud. But Saya player also pushed forward, and that's good for Shroud to fall back. Thankfully as well for Sentinels, they still have the 3 initiators on the board to be able to try to re-clear that shop if they want to, and that's where we're leaning for Sentinels. But look at this push from Trent, just by Sussy. He looks on the top of the net, has the perfect timing, but the jiggle peek from Zelsis, the awareness of that player to actually give the advantage for Sentinels.
Receiving and reading the guard right now. The Sentinels have seen 2 pushes, right, already. That B push on second round, as well as elbow that came in late to the second round, and now this. They're expecting guard to be a little bit aggressive. And already fed in a few kills here. Net able to trade one Vans, and looks like they're going to scale back on A. Sentinels for the plant with Viper's Pit.
Yeah, Shroud on top of that has the pit to pull that out.
Planted.
Allowing Dapper to get a flank down.
Standing.
Shazam watching that flank, easy kill on that flanker. So Valen now, as he gets spotted earlier on by that taunt, they know that he's playing towards the back of the site. Speaking of Sentinels, so they play a little bit more passively inside that pit. Yeah. Dapper watching the back end. 15 easy round coming in. Oh, okay, never mind. Make it a doable more from Valen. Looks for the second one, but as he tries to clear towards the left side, Shazam came out of nowhere and got that frag, and it's going to be now 3 rounds for the Sentinels.
The really interesting thing there at the end of the round, and I'm sure people looking at the mini-map saw it, all of the action was in the bottom right-hand corner, right? Sentinels didn't have to encroach into sight. They got fights at the end of hallway towards their side. Like, look at where all the kills are. There's another kill towards their side. Kill already happened, another kill back. So Sentinels completely absorbing the push from guard here. Guard, though, active, looking, reading, right? They're learning in these rounds just as much as Sentinels is. So we may see guard slow down a bit once they've got a feel. Seeing Sentinels in this death ball, the rounds they have pushed. So both sides getting information as we start this game out. It really hasn't told us much yet.
Correct.
Right now, 3-1.
Still rotting here for Sentinels, looking to see if we still once again have an aggressive push. Indeed we are, but it's on an extremity on the A side, as you see Net lurking up towards the cave, and everybody playing very passively back towards spawn. Shroud looking for the jiggles, and the initiators are looking for control on mid.
Yeah, extremities from the guard here as much as they can. Net firing a few off. Looks like the iron sight was not calibrated as he wished. He gets out of that one. A little worse for wear. And again, Sentinels waiting. Look how far, like in spawn. That's the call. That's the call in game, right? They're where they buy guns. They're still where they buy. Yeah. Slowly moving again in this death ball, though, keeping themselves safe, being able to anchor each other. Sentinels move towards the B side. Really somewhat there with that push from the guard, but the shots for Sentinels.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to try to counter back when you have such good utility for Sentinels to flush everybody out. Nothing to actually counteract as well, because we did have the null command now from Zelsis. Yeah. And this is one of the good things we're seeing from Sentinels so far, Riv, where we're actually saving this toxic screen from Shroud just for the hits. So use your initiators to scout out the map, find out where the stack could possibly be, try to catch the players off guard. They're trying to play aggressive. Then when it comes down to a hit, well, you still have your wall, and you have plenty of utility for the 2 flashes, the haunt, also on the refresh. So there's just so much down on the pocket right now for Sentinels that the guard still needs to start learning and adapting in their, what I would call still their comfort pick on this map.
Yeah, and seeing the chamber push on one side of the map tells you a lot, actually. You know, there might be another push, but chances are you have a read that there's a heavy towards the left side. Chamber can obviously teleport out from that push, so you never really want to go too hard on it. And Sentinels, as you said, going in, playing the wall when they do or don't need it, That was the that was the save-ish for the guard, right? So of course Sentinels are going to take the long-range firefight. The aim has been on. We see everybody getting a piece of the pie right now. Ultimates have already been used to secure a few rounds for Sentinels. We saw a very early Viper's Pit from Shroud that allowed them to secure a few, and we're back to a bit of a sorted round. Tour de force here for guard.
Yeah.
We do have armor for them, though, so let's see if they can get themselves back in with this one.
This is a double off setup on defense now for the guards, so despite them losing these
call.
rounds, being 4-1 for the Sentinels, everything comes back into fruition where they have a very strong defensive, especially after that tag and now the kill onto Zelsis. And that's no flashes to go in on the execute for Sentinels.
This is when you kind of like say, thank God we have triple initiator, but it's never good to lose somebody, right? Great job by the guard. Beautiful find by Trent. This is what they need. You need to shut down Sentinels who are waiting for you across the map. We're like, all right, wait for this.
Yeah.
Takes them down. Because guard isn't playing into the hand of Sentinels anymore. They're staying on their own side, hard angles. You double up, like you said. Really, that Here comes Nightfall. Looks like he hit.
And the Nightfall does hit net. You hear the Hunter's Fury coming out on the attack as well. The Hunt also pings and forced to fall back. Couple of pings coming out at least from the Hunter's Fury of Shazam. But still a 5 versus 4, so going for a plant. Nice little shock dart onto Tens to do a little bit of chip damage, but still in the end, it's a plant. Full plant situation now for the guard for the retake. Starting things off quite well with a build false kill from net. Battle onto mid, and Shazam is lurking back. But the retake back towards the site. Shroud is holding towards the angle at the ladder. That's the first kill at Berlin. But it continues to get traded out, and it continues to be a perfect retake for the guard to make it 2-4 in favor of Sentinels still.
Oh, the little clip shot Sentinels are hitting here just look like they are winning the round, but the backside there, Jonah P moving in, the squad coming together, and they were able to take down just about everybody through the backside of the site when the focus was towards mid, was towards that B archway. So really nicely done there. Guard did suffer quite a bit there in economy, so it might be tough for them to get back into a bye. They're going to call a timeout even after the win to make sure they can keep this flow going, because it's tough, right? They're winning the rounds, like I said, but Econ's down, and it takes the spike being planted and then a defuse. So Sentinels is still getting their money. They're still finding a way in, and I think the guard is then considering, all right, we've played strong, we've pushed, we've held back, they're still making it in. I don't think they care about that anymore. The winning of the round is really where it ends here. Sometimes you can go at, let's stop them fully from getting in the site, but I think this is going to be a plant and almost retake game for guard coming out because of the way Sentinels is drawing these rounds out and really finding guard's positioning before attacking.
Yeah, and this is a very interesting moment where the guard is actually calling the timeout when they actually had a beautiful retake going in for the team, and good methods actually to hold that Breeze map because of the solo on the mid side, getting the Hunter's Fury and double up on both ends. Now that you actually lose the duel de force, will you try to go for a double up again? Because you haven't shown that hand yet, and they are going for it with net going for the operator this round.
And that again kind of
Charlie Mike.
I wouldn't say reaffirms a retake. You want to get a first pick because if all 5 make it in and you're double op retaking, then it gets dicey. Right? You're looking to use the op as a shotgun, and it doesn't really work like that for some. Viper's Pit's going to stall out an A hit here to start things off, but again, Sentinels sticking together. They don't really have a lurk with this composition.
Yeah, the positioning is so good if you're looking at this radar from the guard. The operas are watching towards the B main, towards mid. You have the Sova playing towards the back A halls, and then you have the Viper Spin in the front, but you're facing against 3 initiators in the front A site. Now the door gets open, a beautiful flash, but it's still Saya player that lands the first kill on the Dapper. Valen answers back onto the A main too, holding the top. The recon dart comes out, and that's a spike down as well. But we are trading back. It's Shroud and Tens back with a 1-1 of their own. An advantage coming in for the guard as the recon dart comes out trying to flush out Shroud, bringing out Poison Orb, and is getting sprayed at the same time. Tens goes for a plant.
Wants to reposition. Oh, he gets the frag! Oh my gosh, almost evens it up. It's the operator for Tens. It feels like comfort. It feels like home, and there's one shot onto net. Vansili, it looks so much better at a 2v1.
Well, now it's Tens, or Trent, should I say, on the clutch. A 2 versus 1 does have the Aldrone to work with. who better than Trent to try to go for this clutch right here? But the re-lurk is coming back here from
Yes.
Tens on the
my
mid.
gosh.
Now we have to tap onto that spike, potentially have a double swing. The first peek out, the headshot onto Shroud, but he's still looking back towards the doors. We still have an opportunity here for Tens to move back up. Comes in for the op kill for the mid doors, and that is a 2-on-4 won by Mike Tyson.
The haymaker thrown by the Mike Tyson combo. Oh, that puts him down a round for sure. 5-2. What a reposition as well, because Shroud was in halls, so that's the first reposition. Tens was in cave, the cave, so that's the next reposition. You don't think they're going to go that far around. But they played the timing just right. Great communication there. Tens with an operator, still Tens with an operator. He's got it in hand now. It becomes dangerous. Let's see if Sentinels can still keep putting these frags on the board. A push from Jonah P here. And Guard get a little aggressive again here in round 8.
Yeah. We've seen those plays before from other players where the underhand throw could catch a lot of players off guard towards that front B. But again, looking at Sentinels, it's been very slow in the beginning of these rounds. Just playing where you're mentioning before, Riv, where they're buying their guns. But look at this push from Net and the off angle being held here by Shroud. But Net wins it.
Woo! There's a spicy shot. Let's see just how necessary that wall is for Sentinels to get into these rounds. A lot relies on the shoulders of Tens now, right? An opening pick for them is the way to even this up. So far, he looks for a mid push. And again, we saw this sometimes from Sentinels before, where they draw out the rounds. Usually they'd aggress a little bit more. Sick would be in somebody's face a little bit faster here, but it does seem like they're relying on the guard telling them a little bit of information before there's movement. This death ball moves once again towards A. They don't have enough members to
30
split.
seconds left.
We'll see once we get Shazam up here how they can drone themselves in.
It's actually a great delay. Dapper pushes it out. Now the gun also sticks out too, but unfortunately the headhunter does not connect from Net. So that's an early 4 versus 4, and because of all this utility, you could still try to make it through by all of these flashes. Off shot miss could have been a crucial one, but this allows now Sentinels to get a plant down. The Owl drone trying to re-clear. That does tag onto a member of Sentinels, forcing him just to hold back towards bricks. As Zelsis is watching back towards that right side pyramid. We still have great positioning to crossfire for Sentinels, and we're also flooding back. Nice flash from Jonah B, but it's still Shazam that gets these kills. And looking at it so far, with those 2 kills coming out from Shazam, you already see Saya player falling back to save that operator, so that is going to be a round coming in for the Sentinels. As you see the economy being solo for the guard, they need these weapons moving into the next.
Controller down, Vansili, right? And we saw Dapper kind of just run in there. And then we saw a few other flashes coming in as well. We did see Zelsis throw 0 point back towards the right side to make sure that they kind of deterred anybody on that for defense of the guard. But they walked into that site, pushing the round timer down, putting odds in their favor. The guard wouldn't want to take a fight, be someone to go down and completely throw the map unbalanced. So every member gets on without having Shroud's wall. Like, Sentinels are just kind of playing those odds in their favor just enough, even when they're down and around there. And we see Shroud going down, the guard up in a 5v4 round, and they can't convert it again. They've had so much trouble doing that.
And the trouble that they had was also during the whole stage of stage 2, which we actually see the guard kind of like drop off in those advantages that you had on this early 5 So yeah, it continues to be a lingering factor right now for the guard, at least in this very map. But for Sentinels on the other end, though, looking very good on the executions with this triple initiator. Get these plants, starting things off with a Viper's Pit on the left side. Another conversion that starts off early for Trent as he gets the first blood for the team. It gets immediately traded out, and now he's trying to go for this flank. He's not really traded out, but at least they've evened up the tally for Sentinels is what I'm trying to get to. And with that, though, with this pit, we're still going to hold very slowly for Sentinels.
My God, 9 rounds in, and they pull the trigger. Holy moly, what a fast round from Sentinels. Guard with a great reaction so far on a fast push, but they read Trent. They take him down, Vansili. Dapper now looking as Nat searching for another frag after he gets the Vandal.
Zelsis with the underhand throw outside of the pit to connect onto Jonah P, and unfortunately Nat is going to be by himself now as another one falls for the guard. Inside the pit, Zelsis spots for the 3rd one of this round, making it 7-2, and that's to add another one of these Sentinels post-plant conversions, almost making us think that we're watching 100 Thieves play from stage 2.
Yeah, the good thing you mentioned them. I was just about to bring a point up. I think it was Hiko that said when you play against Sentinels, you get this. You almost play against every play style at the same time. The ability to change it up, be fluid and versatile. And there we just saw them completely flip the switch after showing guard a very Navi style of play where they were planting with 1 second every time. So now the guard has to wonder, do we continue to push? Or are we going to see this death ball right away? It looks like they'll keep this one set back and actually hover towards B this time. They're trying to read what Sentinels would do side to side, and it seems like they're starting to favor A more, especially when 10s will have the tour de force, which they just see the knee of 10s to start this round off.
Yeah. Jump peek, jiggle peek, just try to spot something, bait out a shot. So we don't really know that Net is really watching it here with the operator. Hens with the Beautiful and Headhunter. And we're starting things off with an execution. It's going to be fairly quick towards the A-holes. Josika would take control of the door. And here's that battle towards the front. The swing out from Net. And he connects onto that kill. Another first blood coming in for the guard. But the tag from the Allen Drone. The Hunter Security come out. Zelsis trades it back. A 4 versus 4 as Sentinels have taken over the A site. But we're fighting back from under the bridge. Now with 3 versus 2. Shroud and Shazam plant on the right side of the pyramid, and the wall comes up to allow Shazam to take position inside sight.
Guards just setting up garrisons here at the end. You saw, like you said, under bridge, there were 3 members just ready to take fights. Beautiful coverage and anchoring of each other here, making it tough for Sentinels. Now Shroud and Shazam standing tall. Will they be able to do it? A Saya player connects with Shazam.
3 versus 1 for Shroud. Nice flash, actually. Not fully blinded by that one, but it's enough to make it a little bit busy for him to watch on his POV. So a nice little 3 versus 1, a conversion that finally comes into from a 5 versus 4 for the guard as we make it 7-3. But overall, when you're looking at this game here, for the Sentinels, if you're a fan of Sentinels, you're actually really happy that they've gotten 7 rounds on their attack so far, right? Because they averaged like, what, 4 on their attacker rounds during the stage 2 group stages and the playoffs too. So it's nice to see that it continues forward, and we see some positives out of all of these roster changes and moves that we see on their attack side so far.
Absolutely, and to praise both teams. Guard on Breeze showing a bit of an adaptation, comeback, reading how Sentinels were playing when they're basically getting hit with everything. So it's good to see the Guard as well being able to show us a little bit of gusto. 2 more rounds and they'd make this a pretty even matchup here to start off on Breeze. Oh, they know each other. They sniff this one out. Dapper starts it off. There's again your initiator getting that first frag away. Sentinels has played the game before. It's things you don't expect, just these dry peaks to come out here. Dapper had used a bit of utility there, but it was to clear space and make sure he could take it alone.
We tried something new for the guard in terms of the push from the chamber, which is now on that B site, punished by Dapper. We potentially could have seen the first battle on mid where Saya player, we still haven't figured out on Sentinel's end where he's been offing it. Nice little ADS though from Trent. That's on top of B wall. Headshot onto 10s, a 4 versus 4. A knife to clear out the site for a bit. Jonah P holding the corner towards that ladder and gets that frag onto Dapper. The Poison Orb to come up on defense to run that clock down as Jonah P gets pinged for a bit with the recon. And it's a stalemate right after that.
Yeah, good call on the Jonah P there. That 0 point kind of just slapped Sentinels in the face. Still saw one try to come through, but it did not work. They thought they might be able to outfire Jonah P.
Ooh.
Trent, pretty good success with the Hunter's Fury throughout the match. And now they've figured out this kind of this strategy by Sentinels where they go hard, or they'll push, or they'll show one thing and just look for utility. Guard doesn't buy it anymore.
10 seconds.
Really good read to have this on B, and Valen drop Shroud in mid.
Yeah, they were trying to go for that lurk onto the tunnels, but Valen was on top of that, especially after the underhand throw came out from the Poison Orb. You already knew here for the guard that we had to commit into the B site. So very well done on that hold for the defender half of the guard. That's one of those moments where it looks like it was a very solid hold and not allowing Sentinels to plant finally.
So the operator does seem to be a weapon of choice that's grabbing some rounds here. Definitely allowing guard to shut down this Sentinel strategy at least, because a lot of what's happening from Sentinels is they're wide swinging, but their shots are on right now. And clearing the sights we saw in the first few rounds, not using Shroud's wall as you were talking about to keep those angles open. They're now being met with the guard coming online a little bit. Great plays here and the awareness. Really nice spray, because that's down and angled through that ramp too. So Sentinels
Yeah.
will call a timeout here. What to do on the final round? Will we get another flip the switch? They go super hard. It is going to be an all rifle round. Maybe they go for a mid hit right here as they're looking towards that A side, but it does look like they'll all funnel into the shop area.
Yeah, I mean, the pickup from Shroud just casted a huge shadow over, for example, Zelsis being picked up, Danny also being picked up as an analyst to help out Raucus, and on top of that, one of our stats guy being Weltis that got poached for clout and joining Sentinels to be the stats guy for Sentinels. So there you see that there's a lot more going into this revamp of the Sentinels just outside of like a huge pickup into Shroud. So this timeout being very important here, but a lot of support to help out Shazam. Zelsis on top of that, his experience in version 1 before used to be an IGL at some point. So that's his other second voice to help out Shazam into the development coming outside of this timeout. And it starts very slow once again though, Riv. We're still trying to prod out the beginning of the round for the Sentinels, and the guard understands that, so they're just staying back with the operators that they have. Double up once again, by the way.
It is very much so. Just to touch on Zelsis once more, actually they're going to be hitting A here, so we'll hold that thought.
Yeah.
0 Point
Beautiful
comes in to
0
shut
Point.
down. Yeah, that grabbed a huge handful of members. Still seems like they want to encroach, though. They kind of play against what you think would happen. Oh, we slowed them down. No, they're trying to come in. Saya player reads it. There's the first one and almost two.
Spike down.
And Trent's back there too to fight back against Zelsis. Another headshot onto Dapper. Spike is now down in front of the A site. Jonah P under attack at the staircase as Trent is down to 18 HP. Beautiful recon guard allowing Jonah P to get that kill, leaving Shroud by his lonesome, and that's Trent with a 3K into the round to end the half, 7-5. It started off well for the Sentinels, but now we actually have our game in our hands. It's time to go for a break because we want to come back for more action after this. Welcome back here, Valorant fans, as we started things off in this series with a couple of questions, and yes, it looks good on the agent changes that we currently have from Sentinels. Yes, we're playing Comfort Pit for the guard, but at least we came out swinging, and we have a close game to kick off the second half.
I'm so glad Guard was able to come back with 5 there. Sentinels were looking strong. Guard battled through the economy, battled through their own demons. And we have a game on our hands. That's all we wanted to start off this series, to start off the LCQ, especially with Sentinels and the Guard. And yeah, a very big shot onto Dapper to start. One initiator down. And this is big. One of the win conditions we came into this tournament with was that Guard converts their 5v4s.
Yeah.
They're the second best team right now in LCQ at being able to achieve this, but the conversion rate is not as good.
At least we have a nice flash, shot dart combo. So you see that that's coming out here for Sentinels as well, using a little bit of that utility to try to retake towards the A site. Now with a 0 point. Recon in the back. We know one is playing towards bricks. Another flash available for Zelsis. Goes for that underhand. Comes back through. Fully blinded is going to be Trent, and thankfully he's fully blinded. But that Zelsis still on his own. Connects onto another kill onto net, but we're swinging through as he's reloading, and that's a perfect pistol round coming in here for the guard.
Big two. Pistol rounds, one apiece right now between these two teams, as Sentinels did pick up their first one, so the guard answer back. They'll get a bonus. They should be able to tie it up here. Let's see if Sentinels get anything funky for a defensive strategy, as it looks like mid will be how guard kind of spreads this one out just a little bit. Spikes down to start this round off, so they're actually maybe considering Sentinels will get a push onto this round here. Extremities are covered. You can see on the left side, Net's getting ready to focus on window and a push. Mid's covered, and so are Halls.
What I'm really liking so far as we have this eco from Sentinels is just to actually shine a little bit of light onto like these players that we think and we talk about having less experience from the guard. We already saw in that preview of this matchup where, you know, VALORANT's talking about, oh, I'm playing against one of my almost idols here in the attack FPS scene, being Shroud. Net is also very young coming into the scene. And when we've also criticized Net on his chamber plays, mainly saying, yeah, he's better on Killjoy, player comfort picks, I like that he's still pushing forward by himself on the defense, not letting like the name and the numbers and the viewers affect his playstyle to be like, I'm going to confidently push down, get the information for my team, and on top of that, getting these kills.
Yeah, you got to know you're better than everybody else in the server. It's just a feeling you have to exude. So a little bit of a fake arrow towards A. They don't get a ping, but they know somebody's close enough to shoot it. So that would kind of tell, especially where the shot was from, kind of tells the deepness of Sentinel's defense at this time. The round getting drawn out once again. We're going to have a B hit, and it's 1 for 1.
That's a quick kill, but that's a stack coming in for Sentinels on the A site, so I don't think that Tens expected the flood coming in from the guard into this B side. Good for that kill, and now it's trying to figure out if they could catch the guard off positions. And that's two players moving out towards the snake, towards that tunnel, and there's one watching the late flank being tried.
Did we just... I feel like the first round and the second round have been the same. Like, the guard mirrored what Sentinels did. They encroached and scaled onto A. Now we have a late round run into B without any coverage because the wall's at A. And it's just a firefight because you know you have the weapon upper hand. Yeah. Little we can do anything you can do situation here to start off our first few rounds. And that's going to be some nice damage. Not losing too much with just a headhunter there. And VALORANT picks up a few with Trent as well.
Close in, do the damage, do as much as you can. Can you get a third into the round? Not going to work out, and just like that, we're tied on a 7-7 scoreline. And we kind of invested a little bit into the guard, right? They had 3 Bulldogs going into that previous round and kept those Bulldogs alive into this round here. So it could still be a heavy fire round with, it looked like Side Player was going to go for another Bulldog trying to keep the econ at some point even. But he decides to go for the Vandal instead. On the other end, though, big test for Sentinels as they have to play the defense on a triple initiator here. And see if this is going to work out in their favor.
So instant walls being put up right away. So this allows you to feel out the map. You've already put something on the plate of Sentinels on defense, so guard can decide to play around that. It does seem like Trent feels comfortable in Halls. It's the second time we've seen him extremity there as they start to work mid. So now guard, this did not happen for Sentinels. I don't think we ever saw Sentinels work mid once. So guard here trying to pressure the kill.
Yeah, if anything, it was only a late lurk, but here comes that split in. A couple of flashes coming out on defense, but it's still going to be Shroud trying to hold his ground now, gets pinged out. But he does get the wall bang onto Jonah, being a headshot onto Saya Player before he gets traded out. A 2 versus 2, Zelsis battling at 35 HP at the staircase of the A site. Spike is now moving in, looking for a plant, and it will be successful now, courtesy of VALORANT. While Net is rotating all the way back towards cave, the Spike planet for both of these players as we're retreating back towards the cave with the toxic screen about to come down. Oh no!
Peeking!
No, I didn't like that. I did not like that at all. Out caught in position, out of position rather, as maybe it was a miscommunication. VALORANT should have called it out potentially here that the wall was coming down, and Net got caught with his pants down. Thankfully,
Valen.
Valen can play the pulse lineup.
Enemy remaining.
ADS onto 10s. A 2 versus 1, but it's still going to be Zelsis that answers back. That 13 HP remaining will get the defuse, and that's Sentinels, but an expensive round for them to win.
Oh, I think just at the last moment, I thought they were timing the gas well. Maybe didn't call it was going down. Net caught out, but then stayed out. Kind of thought he might. Well, he's like, all right, you missed, I missed. Let's keep fighting. Sometimes you make that decision, and it did not pay off.
Yeah.
Honestly, that looked like the guards round with Sentinels having to come in, a wall up as well that they passed through for a bit of damage, and the firefight just continued. So the mid play overall actually stopped there. And then we see now, the reason I mentioned that is the difference in how we're seeing these teams already play the map. We see that guard wants to work mid a bit. It may still happen, and we'll see if Sentinels reacts to that mid pressure. Already looking for 2 towards elbow for Sentinels.
You know, the econ's low for Sentinel, so we tried to go for something explosive on the mid. And we do have the defenders retreating back for a bit, controlling more towards elbow to play close range here with the Spectres that we currently have, a Bulldog, a Guardian. Mind you, again, this is a round that Sentinels won previously, and their economy is fully broken versus what the guard has to offer this round.
Hence Guardian long range down that B hall. He's ready for someone to peek. Quick haunt over the top. So they've cleared everything left extremity. They can play defense on A now. Sentinels has done a pretty great job, but they Vipers pit A.
Yeah, to
See how they
back
play
towards
off it.
B. This is where Tense is moving forward. They hurt him, but he's still ADS is down. Body shots onto net. Dapper looking for info with the Prowler towards mid, and they still hear the footsteps. Tense trying to retreat if he can, and could still blow up the Headhunter if anything. The first swing out, but it's still going to be Trent that wins that first duel against the defender on the B side. Slightly open for now. Recon Dart to try to answer back. Also the null command coming out here on the defense from Zelsis, but Trent still drops Shazam. Now in the back of the site, Zelsis with the Vandal. Underhand throw, looking to peek back towards the ladder, and he does spot a few. Now he does have support from Charlotte coming out from McDonald's, while Dapper's moving in on tunnels, and they are closing in on the guard, leaving Saya player, that Guardian by himself on the attack. And it's just going to slow down for a bit with 16 seconds left on the clock. Nice flick there onto Dapper. Let to go for a pre-fire shot into the corner, but a nice high-low for Sentinels just to stop the bleeding, and that's Sentinels with 2 rounds in a row.
Sentinels making a decisive decision to push on a part, like a scattered by both teams, which means it's a round where if you go to the throat of your opponent and you're able to take them out like Sentinels did, it becomes so hard economy-wise. What a push down towards B, and you called it. The fake ran right into the rotation of Sentinels.
Yep.
Guard was not expecting that to happen this early in the game from Sentinels' defensive side. As we saw, they're down to Marshals and Sheriffs now, and Sentinels pull away by 2.
Tried to go for something quick here to start things off on the defense. Underhand throw. We also have the Dildo Fuss looking back towards the A main. The tap on the orb. The battle here, and it's a connection onto Trent. But that leaves Zelsis on his own, decides to fall back. Playing the numbers to their advantage. We like that. Valen has lurked his way through the A halls. A cap.
Okay.
Should I say that caught Zelsis off guard. So that's a great way to get the kill. Activate the Blade Storm and make it a 4 versus 4 while we still have the Toxic Screen up and available for the attack of the guard.
That's 2 activated in this round. You talked about the orb touch with the shop. That was Nets, Tour de Force up. Now they have 2 priority ultimates in that Blade Storm and Tour. Definitely could look to play this a lot slower. A little more pressure on net here. You can see Saya ready to answer on the anchor of these plays. And it's just a 1-2-3 across the map for Sentinels defense here. They're playing for the retake. They know they're against big alts. There's no reason to try to play the 1v1 right now.
Yeah. The trend being down, it's only going to be the 0 point to try to clear it for a bit. They choose to look back towards the ladder, so that allows Dapper to swing out. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out in their favor with that flash. That is going to be the guard, making it a 4 versus 3. Still at least looking to get him plant down for the economy into the next round. Net, though, answers back onto Shazam. It's a 3 versus 3 somehow, as Dapper is still stuck in the back of the site, looking to get pushed in, looking to get the wallbang shots, and Dapper is looking for that swing. It's a close-range battle against Valen, who's just around the corner, and as he goes for that swing, it's 2 players looking in that area, forcing out at least a retake from the Nightfall, as Net still stays alive for a bit, but only for a bit. Dapper answers back, and he was the solo anchor into the site and also stays alive this whole time. That was pretty good.
Oh my, yeah, exactly. Like I said, they wanted to play the retake. And that takes so much discipline. Like, Dapper played that ridiculously well. It's so easy to say, oh, I'm getting peaked, I'm getting pressure, but he found a way to stay safe, knowing when to play the kill. And like you said, long enough to secure a Nightfall in the situation, which is ridiculous. He was the only one that could really allow those ultimates to be broken through the site if he got those 2 frags. Like, literally, Moon's aligning there, Guard trying their best, but could not make the round happen with Tour de Force and Bladestorm. And that's a round now pulling away again for Sentinels, and they don't have to worry about those ultimates for quite a while. There's a Viper's Pit to start things off at A for Sentinels. That means they can focus a little bit toward B here. You can see the initiators of Fade and KO ready to come back if necessary, but right out the gate.
3 players pushing up towards the mid doors for the Guard. Easy trade against Shroud, and the player advantage also on the attack. Plant coming down for the Pulse Plant at the default spot once again, where they could play the Pulse Plant lineups. You currently see Trent moving all the way back. Valen still has his 2 snake bites, and as he actually brings back up that fuel, allows the wall to come back up, and now they retreat back into the A cave. And this is such a strong position. I mean, you still have net towards mid. You have an alarm bot looking back towards that flank. This is just going to be looking to be one off simple utility from the Guard. Let's see if we can actually get the retake from Sentinels.
I wonder what his countdown is. We might be able to actually get this to a fast beep. They're going to have to force defuse it. Here comes the ultimates. They're trying to flick across. Velen takes down Zelsis. Great organization in the ultimates here. Sentinels knows they can't go for it, are forced to back off. So still, even after losing pivotal ultimates on the side of Guard, they're still finding ways here to make sure they can get themselves around. That was big to be able to knock down Sentinels on that round.
Yeah, the Guard have been looking pretty good here on the win that are taking up here towards the A site to play the Pulse Plant, because a lot of these times Velen gets a plant and still stays alive too on the Pulse Plant. There's been some situations, of course, where losing his player is back on the Pulse Plant in front of the cave where he has to try to clutch it, but overall, the initial strategy of the Guard trying to get into A for the plant seems to be seamless because you still have, like, what, 3-4 players make it into sight on that plant.
Back towards A, possibly.
Ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. So they've set up this wall the majority of the time. You can see it being the gas ore being popped back and forth as Null Command comes out. Quick site take here, and they feel like they just scale on the site. Like round 1 here, but with ultimates makes it a little easier unless Dapper does that.
We did have a tag coming out onto Shroud in the back of yellow. Owl Drone coming out from Shazam. Shock Dart's trying to come through. And that's going to be a little bit of a combo. Oh, that could have killed Jonah P. He's down at 2 HP. And finally, kill confirmed by Shazam. But alert coming back towards mid from Trent. And he can come up huge right now. It's a 5 versus 2. We are watching that flank, but it's Net and Trent. 2 youngsters right now in the roster making it work, at least for now. Trent on his lonesome. And it does not connect there, unfortunately, on that duel. But we actually did have a crossfire set up no matter what. He was fighting against Shazam. You had Zelsis on the other end and 1 going on a defuse. And that's Sentinels at 11.
Triple initiator retakes are gross. Like, they are going so quick. And I talked about it a bit before. We saw that it was Zelsis and Dapper playing over towards B. And they've switched it up. We can actually see Shroud headed that way now with the way they play it. But just imagine if they go A, you have, even if you lose one of your initiators, you have 2 to still retake. Like, your retake is immensely powerful. And then if they go B, we already saw it, Dapper backs up. So does Zelsis. They can delay, but they still have initiator retake potential. Retake, I don't know if we said that enough. It felt like a broken record when we first saw Sentinels playing, right?
Yeah.
They would move across the defensive side of the map and retake everything, even if you had 5 in the site. And with the triple initiator, it seems to fit way more into their wheelhouse because they can wait a bit longer. They can get into position, and they can make sure that even if you have ultimates, it doesn't really matter. Guard are going to call a timeout and figure out how to thwart this, how to say, okay, maybe if we all turn our monitors off while we're getting flashed, it won't count, right? But even then, we saw Shazam coming through with the sonar bolts. We saw double kills through the walls at B. We've seen them kills through smoke. So it's almost impossible to get away. And on that last round, the spike went down during the plant, which gave Sentinels even more time to swarm the site. And we saw Guard kind of scrambling. So they seem to be just a step ahead here on the rounds. And Guard, when they do win, are taking a lot of damage in those fights. Round 20 here, Vans.
Really important here. We actually had a buy coming out from Valen onto Trent, or sorry, for Saya player. So you now know and see that the economy is very low for the guard. A crucial round for them to win, and also banking on the fact that they need Valen to get the plant so we can pull out the poison orb, or should I say the Viper's Pit. That said, they were able to do that on the splits towards the A site. This round, looking to focus a lot of players on mid control, even abandoning Cave.
Guard have had good success through this doorway. So you can see him touching it again, saying, all right, let's get the rotation now. No bite, though. Sentinels staying very controlled on their angles. Just a little bit of a lean now from the defensive spawn area.
Dapper's going to have to come up huge at the pillar of the B side. The smoke dissipates. Could have lined up too, but that's an easy trade back. Vibrant Spit is available, but it's stopped by Shazam just by the archers in the back of the B side. Spike is also down, but Shazam's on his by himself, actually. But he can do it so far. That's one kill. Traded out by Saya player on a 2 versus 2. Now there's no information from the guard where the last 2 players are, except maybe with that 0 point that just came out. Rotation's coming back towards mid.
A nice little 2-pronged attack here coming in from the side of the guard. We saw kind of what the cloud burst over a gas wall provides you. It kind of bit him in the butt for a second as that wall's over towards A, but this 2v2 is tight, and Sentinels look to put themselves on huge point. Not gonna happen.
By Jonah P. One of those moments where, you know, there was that miscomm that came out from one end before with Valent's wall coming down. This time is actually Sentinels. The wall comes down. Zelsis had his back turned towards the back, and 2 easy kills for Jonah P with an aggressive push-up. I like that, and the guard stays alive so far in this game.
I'll look this way. You look this way? With this way?
Yeah. Just too many angles. Too many angles.
There's too many. Get the protractor. Dapper, Zelsis, Shazam. All ready to fire out ultimates here to make sure this round doesn't go in favor of the guard. Let's see how many they use. Valen, are they going to try to crash onto a site and get this Viper's Pit down? Again, these rounds where the spike is down, okay, it gets picked up. Usually we see the guard play very slow if that spike is down, but they grab it right away to hold elbow. A little bit of a crossfire here to help each other out. The double push in halls, I like this.
Yeah.
Sentinels are trying to put things in place. They haven't gotten any pushes, though, so the guard have not been read in this strategy. They could still crash onto the site and slam that pit down.
That's exactly it. You want to use that toxic screen maybe as a conditioning, as a fake, because you have a Viper's Pit that's available.
Always.
So you could still use a lot of utility from your 2 initiators, from the recon dart, probably the reset coming back from Trent. This kill also is going to give the tell that the hits towards that B site, but it allows you to get in with utility and get the plant down. But Dapper is was looking to get ready to go for a Nightfall, but decides to save it into the later rounds because they are also on a lower buy. So this also allows the guard to get an easier site inside B, with the exception now of a flank coming in from Zelsis with that Vandal for Punja.
We're gonna hold it. I like it. Being efficient with the ultimates on this round. 10's coming in with the Headhunter to try and get a little bit more. So guard actually have found quite a bit of success here going towards middle. As you said before, the wall towards A. We're gonna hold on that.
Yeah, let's hold for a bit. We got the highlight reels coming out from 10s. Zelsis actually makes it a little bit more expensive for the guard this round, but he's actually potentially going for this. Off the kill, try to make it expensive for a bit.
Ooh.
I mean, he will be able to buy into the next round. Trent takes him down, but yeah, that was actually a really good half buy after all here for Sentinels with the Headhunter shots coming out from 10s.
It's like I said before, when guard do win, man, they take a lot of damage in the fights. It makes it so tough to string these rounds together. You're under so much pressure. You don't have as much confidence to push. The dangerous plays you make have much more of a negative result if you do go down, right? You can't just buy next round. It's not that kind of game for guard right now. So the ultimates are about to just clash here as we get towards the end of our first map. What a game to start off NALCQ between guard and Sentinels.
Oh yeah.
Oh baby, it's still going too. First map Breeze. We never thought this would be in the mix here, but guard wants to avoid Haven. The other maps, just get them out. Towards halls is going to be the play here.
The tides have turned in terms of the economy for Sentinels. A crucial round for them to win. If they win this round but lose a lot of players, they're still going to be on a low economy at map point. But that's a great way to start things off. Shazam, ADSing, headshot onto net. We're trying to answer back from the halls, the underhand throw. Shazam tries to fight back, but Jonah P at least got control of the door. That forces out the null command, and Valen gets the entry on the Shroud. Meanwhile, though, as the door opens, that's already going to be the ult down, but it's going to be a camera for the players on the guard trying to get this plant into A. Still, the Viper's Pit available. Null command coming out on the defense, so that's going to delay things just for a bit. And there you go, the pit finally comes out. Trent still has the Allen drone. Hunter's Fury to come back as well on the retake from Shazam. And it's Zelsis, Shazam, and Tens looking for the retake, but they have to retake with an AWP on top of that. So this is good positioning, at least for Valiant inside the pit. Now as the wall comes down, Shotgun's coming in. Oh, the close range trying to get that shot. Lurking around the Viper's Pit, leaving Trent on his own. The swing out, and unfortunately, as Zelsis comes down towards that ramp, Trent was looking at the wrong angle, and that's going to be the defuse coming down for Sentinels at map point. But, Riv, we talked about how expensive this round could have been. Still, there's an opportunity for the Guard with the economy and that plant that they just got.
Bit of money, like you said, coming back into their favor. Again, we see the Sentinels using this triple initiator comp. You basically negate the space where Sentinel or Guard could be standing in that Viper's Pit, right? Whether you have Shazams, whether you have a Seize, a Han, a Prowler, a Flash going in to know you have the upper hand if it was close enough to that. Like, they almost knew where they were going to find their fights.
Get out of my way.
Even though they took a few casualties of their own on the side of Sentinels. Game point here as we come into round 23 for Sentinels. It looks like they'll hold off a regular 3-2 defense, actually, on that side. And a bit of an extremity play coming in from Guard.
In the beginning of this round, you had so much juggle going on with what kind of buy we're going to have for Sentinels. And now you look at the overlay, they don't have that much utility to work with if you're looking at what's still available. Yeah,
True.
It's going to be very tough right now. We're seeing the Guard trying to split back into this A site.
What a push coming in. Zelsis could have their backs real quick, but Guard make quick work of everything that's in A. Is Zelsis too late, or is he just in time?
Blade Storm now down, Spike now planted. Zelsis looking towards the back end of the cave. Tens looking for the high ground. But here's that flash to the door. That spots Tens, but Jonah P still manages to escape. But this still gives him good positioning on the pulse plant now for the Guard. And even Sentinels, look at that.
Save.
On a 5 or 4 versus 3 rather. He might play it a little bit more passively. He might try to save unless they get this kill, and they do. So that opens up the mid doors. There's that Nightfall that's going to ping 2 players out of the 3 remaining inside the site as well. So you will commit for this. The Recon Dart to come out, the Toxic Screen as well. Molly in the front from the fragment of Zelsis. And we're straight to the wall. Put the timing on that one. Trent allowing to get 2 kills out of that, and that is going to be the Guard holding the plant after all. And we're 1 round away of seeing overtime to kick off the LCQ.
Again, mid becomes this opening, this place where Guard can encroach into Sentinel's defense, be a thorn in their side. The initiators want to stop you at like a forward choke point and then be able to play their angles, right? When we see Zelsis now trying to play 2 sides of the pyramid because there's cave and doors, that doesn't start to work as well because of how far back we actually have the rest of Sentinels playing, right? Shroud's not going to be able to do too much. He can put up a smoke, right? But that's not going to stop Guard from flooding in.
Yeah.
They're already in, and Zelsis needs a little more help there. So Guard have found a really great way to be in the middle of the initiator comp to start instead of allowing Sentinels a time to position.
And even then, like, there's not much Shroud could do when Net goes in and enters that way with a Vandal running up mid. When you already had the crosshair placement by one of the greats being Shroud in attack FPS in the attack FPS world when it comes down to crosshair placement. And it was actually quite interesting looking at that previous round because yes, we were able to save an operator for Sentinels in that on the last round for Tens, and they didn't decide to go for a double op setup. They actually went for Tens. Let's just keep that operator, go for a full buy, and this results now playing a dual defense and a much lower buy in round 24, last round of regulation, where the Guard has everything in their favor to force the overtime.
Trent's been pretty spicy with that ultimate, at least a few tags and maybe even some frags for him. They didn't put the wall up.
That's right.
They did not put the wall up at A this round. So we'll have to see what happens where Guard goes, where they decide to use it, if they still fake it late. The push Tens wants first blood.
Oh my god, Saya player with the pick. That is a huge first blood for the Guard, and that opens up the B side as well. We have another player looking around, but you just heard that shot, and that was Dapper looking for that flank here on elbow. As the Toxic Screen's about to come down, he's looking for the window flank. Null command coming out here.
This would be incredibly impressive.
It would be impossible. Well, Very doable if we actually have a huge flank. Oh, the wall comes up on the timing on defense. And Dapper's position's now given away with 2 players playing under the window. You're going to have to flick hard, but it doesn't work out. He had utility in his hands, and we're looking closer and closer for the overtime. Shroud with the Marshall, Zels is down, and Shazam with the Bulldog, but the res comes out, forcing out the Hunter's Fury to tag onto one. The double kill with the Hunter's Fury, leaving only 1 player alive. That Zels is with that Spectre, spotted in the front of the B site, and we will be going into overtime. A Saya player gets that last kill.
Oh, Sentinels meet the guard as they stand. Oh my gosh. Overtime for this game, all ready to start in our best of 3. We still have we still have Icebox to go, but that doesn't matter right now. Standing tall. The economy being low here for Sentinels completely separated what we've been seeing them do every round, right? The reason I said that would be almost impossible is because everyone then had to make 1v1 plays instead of the utility being for the team, right? Dapper wasn't with Celsius. It was with Shroud. Shazam was by himself. So the communication may have still been there from long-range utility, but it wasn't over the shoulder. It wasn't anchor fights. That was just Sentinels getting caught out because they were forced into a low buy. That's the kind of game Guard provided themselves getting into that last round. They've worked hard for it. Sentinels 2 at 12. And now, like you said, first round of OT here. Doesn't look like too much of a commitment on either side as Sentinels keep a 2-1-2 on defense. Sorry, Guard on defense as we swap.
Yeah.
And Sentinels going back to this kind of attack. But now we do have a lurker. Dapper is away from the team.
Great observation on that one. Dapper's already looking back on the left side of the pillar to try to catch the rotation as the rest are trying to actually flush net out of position. And look at that. He gets pinged by a drone. He's not switching his position. He's just staying in anchored up on the left side pyramid. The Owl drone to support him on the top of bridge from Trent. And now this is a stalemate. You're going to have to wait for the next recycle of utility to allow Sentinels to go for a hit. And Saya player's about to walk down. This could be a big kill right now from Dapper.
There's the timing there.
Potentially. Oh, now he clears it. He's watching it, but Dapper still wins it. Haunt to look up. A push down from Valen. And he wins it on that 4 versus 4. He gets pinged out, but it's still the rest of Sentinels going for that explosive hit now as you have the toxic screen coming up towards A.
I wonder how much Guard actually think this is a fake. Sentinels didn't do any of that in the first half when they were playing on their attack. And they are going to do a little bit of that. Just scale into A when the wall's up. Take the fights, be behind each other, give somebody a family photo if they decide to peek. And they are there to back each other up.
1 0-point spots all 4 players. That is going to be the spike down going at least for the Sentinels as they lose Zelsis in the process. But the retakes coming out from the Guard. Everybody can look towards the front of the site here for Sentinels. And all of this time we had the toxic screen still available for Valen. So now we go for that retake and we all fall for the Sentinels. And somehow the Guard take the lead on the first map on their permaban being Breeze.
Incredible teamwork there. You see how tight-knit both teams are moving right now. They know how each other are going to attack and play. If there's a wide swing, there's more to follow. Everybody's tethered to each other right now. This game is requiring a lot of communication from both teams there. We saw the walls actually go perpendicular there to divide what could be coming from the double door side. For Guard, all of them could focus right through the pyramids, and Sentinels was ready and waiting. I would say ready. They were waiting, though, for that first one. Let's see what Guard has now for attack. Sentinels onto the defense, setting up their own 2-1-2. And it looks like they will diversify how kind of those were set up. We saw a lot of the times Zelsis with Dapper. Now the initiators have been split.
Prowler and a 0 point on Elbow. We're putting a lot of information or trying to gather information on the mid front B from Sentinels and stacking players more towards the A site. But the Guard are pulling a trick out of Sentinel's hat. Staying towards spawn, playing it passively, waiting for the next utility to come out to try to find information, maybe try to sell the false information that Sentinels could be getting from their utility and look for the late hit.
Birds just chirping. Who's going to break the silence? A quick Prowler out, so they at least know where Dapper might be lurking and playing. And that's kind of Dapper's style. So they know Dapper may actually just be on a bit of a sentry mission to figure out what's going on.
Wall up, Owl drone. This is a fake right now on the A side to hit towards B. But we hear the footsteps. Tenz is on the top. They don't clear it on the top here for the guard, but no hits, no kills. 10, or should I say net at 1 HP, finally gets dropped. Now it's a 4 versus 4. The knife actually pings him out, and we have a recon guard actually that pings out Saya player. But Valid is walking towards the front of the B site. It's a 4 versus 3. Tenz was trying to go for the hero play to at least narrow down the numbers on the retake, but we still have Zelsis. The flash in the back of the site. Saya player is also holding that angle. The peek out. Zelsis wins that fight. And now here comes Trent on the lurk, back towards tunnel. The 0 point coming out on defense as we have suppression coming in. Jonah falls, but Trent moves forward. The first headshot onto Shroud, the recon dart to come out too, and Valen is still holding towards that window. So we have to go for the quick kill, and it works out for Shazam. Now Valen has to go for the jiggle back into front, and Shazam saves it in now for the Sentinels as we will go into double overtime on Breeze.
Oh my word. Okay, Tyson, that got a little scary there for Sentinels fans. You saw Tyson dive into a crowd of attackers, but that initiator composition just coming through. And Shazam, hello? His aim has been crispy this game. When we are on him, he is clicking heads, and he actually had a read on where every flank was coming from, like he was in the guard's head on that attack. That's what you need to keep the rounds going here. Sentinels do just that, and we're going to get an operator here as the buy comes out from net, so they can get that gun onto these hard angles to hold here. That will be focused over towards cave. And it looks like it's another split round-ish from Sentinels. We did not see a lot of this again in their first half. They're starting to distribute the way they play this strategy to get guard messed up, because all Sentinels really did was either hit fast, never play mid, or go right down to 10 seconds.
Now Saya player is trying to do the same thing as Tenz did on the B site. The Allen drone for the ping, but this is going to be one of those same things once again. But Zelsis gets the opener. We actually do clear that top of flank, but Valent's in the back of the site, connects onto 1, but cannot get the readjustment onto Shroud. We have a plank coming down. Ooh, that's going to be a big audio cue. Dapper staying on the top of mid. Right back as Net is looking for it from the top of Ness. And that's a great pick. But another late lurk coming out from Elbow. Tenz is going to hear the rotation from Jonah B. Connects onto that kill, and we know the second one's moving towards tunnel. Shroud is playing the pulse plant. That's one of the things we like to see, yeah. I mean, Shroud, we talked about it before. One of those players that's coming in. As we do have the shots landing on a 1 versus 1, and it is halfway. We're forcing out the ping. The wall bang coming out from Shroud does get the kill, and who better than Shroud to win that round on that 1 versus 1 against Net, putting Sentinels back at map point.
The time, the ice cold. I mean, like, everybody's sitting there sweating like, fire it, Molly! Oh my God, fire it! He's like, psh, what do you mean? Not even close.
I got this. Years of experience in the attack FPS scene. I got this, boys. But that's one of the things that's cool here, Riv. We talked about Shroud being one of the latest additions, of course, with Zelsis into this roster, and we wanted to know if he actually knew the lineups, if he was going to be able to play Viper, because even as a joke he said, or even as in his interview he said, oh, there's potential where I won't play a Viper and maybe let Dapper play it, but he's throwing into this role quite well.
Ice cold lineups. Makes you think you got it. Nice clutch, nice play. Sentinels pull the lead back in their favor here on their pick of Breeze. Elbow play going to come in now from the side of the guard. The spike is still down towards A cave.
Yeah.
Zed shop. So if they actually decide to go towards A, they can still do that. Wall hasn't been used. As per usual, they would fire it towards A pyramids. So they still have a chance to go either way.
At least the spike is on the back of Valen, right? So if Trent dies, then yeah, okay, we have a player pushed up towards A, but this is all bad timing because we think we have position and info. Tenz does get the first kill, at least onto tunnel. But this could still be a rotate back towards the A site. Yes, you'll let them in. Maybe that's going to be the play here for Sentinels because you just want Zelsis to play the pulse plan and just catch the players off guard, especially after that owl drone. That's the easy kill. One player down. Knife towards the front door. Actually, he missed it. He threw the knife onto the body of Trent. I love it.
Well, he was making sure nobody else was to his left. He hadn't cleared it, so he's like, oh my God, Shroud! He comes up with a 3K, the flawless to end the round. You got to be kidding me! Oh my word! I literally, I can't even take the amount of gigabytes going through my computer right now.
Same here.